Okay, now we're on the air with Up Close and Personal with a personal friend of mine, Jerry Herring. No, excuse me. Rabbi Jerry Cutler and his beautiful wife, Jeff.
Hello, Malcolm.
Actually, it's good afternoon. And just to clue the audience in, we've been watching that whole damn thing that's happened in Washington. Today is January 6th. But anyway, we won't do that. Jerry, what I was always fascinated about was you being a stand-up comic. I read in your bio that you were doing comedy and studying to be a rabbi at the same time. And the weekends you go to the Catskills. Tell us about those times.
I was studying a rabbinate and I used to go to the Catskills and entertain.
Done well. Didn't he do
Very
well
good.
on that?
What else would you like to know?
Yeah, okay, this is like Jewish geography. Which hotels did you entertain in?
All the hotels. Catskill hotels. Grossinger's, Concord, what?
Grossinger's.
It's been a while. But the whole circuit.
I used to work.
And also Atlantic City as well.
Yeah, I used to work in the Catskills.
I couldn't go beyond the confines of Atlantic City because I had to get back to the yeshiva to study. So Atlantic City was just a couple hours from where I lived, so I came back.
So what did your dad think about it? I understand your dad was a Jewish scholar, rabbi. You come from 6 generations of rabbi, and now my son, the comedian?
Yes, well, you know what? He had a great sense of humor, my dad. And when I started comedy, he enjoyed it. He didn't realize that I wanted to go on beyond.
He liked it at first?
Yeah, the fact that I was a kid when I started. Mm-hmm. And I used to do bar mitzvahs. And I was not much older than the bar mitzvah boy or girl. So that was cute. But I was in the Catskills and I was ready to do a show once. I forget which hotel I was at. And I came out and I said, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Herring out. I came out and as I ready, so I looked down and there's my father. I didn't know he was coming up to the Catskills.
I think I saw that movie.
With another rabbi, Rabbi Lieberman, I remember that. And this was a late show. In the late shows, I was a bit raunchy because the people are drunk. They've been drinking all night. They saw one show already. They came in for a late show. And in front of my father and his guest, Rabbi Lieberman, I obviously couldn't tell any raunchy stuff to the people. I subsequently forgot everything. I could not remember what I had to do for the life of me. And I said, my father's here. God bless you, Dad. I'm so glad to see you. And and that was it. And I walked off stage. So I never got paid for that performance, unfortunately. But I didn't tell many jokes, obviously.
You're lucky they didn't kick you out of the hotel.
Yeah, they should have. Well, I was visiting there. I was one of the places I entertained. Anyway, it was a unique experience for me. First of all, make sure where my father was at all times. And actually, it was okay. I didn't enjoy doing schmutz. I really didn't. But it was the only way I can get their attention because they were in a state of inebriation. So that was it.
It works at the synagogue too.
I know. I've been to some of your services.
Yeah. I had a weekend pulpit in New Jersey, Burlington, New Jersey. And when I would finish with the evening service, I take off and come to the mountains and drive and then park and then do my show. So you want to know when I stopped?
Yeah,
Mister, He's
I
busy.
think I'm getting a call from one of the people that saw you.
are they regurgitating?
Oh, they're still alive.
No, they said they were kids at the time.
Yeah, well, kids, I had a lot of kids, but I didn't
What?
do shtick like that. I had a show. This is my last show that I did up there. I had a show, and it was a late show. So this is before the weekend. Oh no, it was during the weekend pulpit that I had. And I always stood outside. It was the El Dorado Hotel, South Fallsburg. I would stay after the show. I'd stay in the meeting area lobby and wait for the people to come out, and I'd receive compliments, which I loved, made up for the lack of money that I would get. And I would just getting accolades. And I had a young couple walk up to me, and they looked up at me and with a horrifying look, and the girl said, "Rabbi Cutler?" They were from the pulpit in New Jersey, where I just come from to entertain. They were shocked because that was a late show. I was raunchy. I was so thoroughly embarrassed. It was the last time I did comedy there. And I had to decide either it's going to be as a rabbi or as a comic. And I chose to be funny on the pulpit because I got more laughs on the pulpit than I did on the shows.
Well,
Yes, sir.
Somehow I remember, is Jackie Mason a rabbi?
No.
No.
Jackie actually was a cantor.
Oh, okay.
That he was, but it came out, Rabbi, whoever's doing the story didn't know the difference. And they wrote out a whole thing on him. Jackie, I love. Jackie gave me a lot of encouragement. And he was in the hotel that I'd stay at one hotel during the summer and work out of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to do a few shows at the hotel, then go to the other hotels. And Jackie came in and he went up to the desk and he went, "Hello, yeah, any mail for Jackie Mason?" And they said, no, sir, we don't have anything. Okay. And he'd walk into the dining room. He wasn't a guest, but every day he would go and say, "You have any mail for Jackie Mason?" He'd say, "No." He'd walk in and he'd sit down at a table. Before long, that table was in hysterics. So the hotel owners realized that, wait a minute, here's a funny guy. We can't throw him out. Everybody loves him. So they gave him a room, and that was the place he stayed. And from there, he worked out. He's a wonderful guy.
He did okay for himself.
And that's it. He is an incredibly funny man.
That he is.
I saw him in Vegas on stage the same time. It was very late. It was Buddy Hackett, Shecky Green, and Jackie Mason. Three Jews up in Las Vegas on a late show. Very improvisational, and the audience was in stitches. But Jackie, God bless him, was the star. He just bowled everyone over, including Hackett and Shecky.
I remember when I was a teenager, they used to say the Italians are the singers and the Jews are the comedians.
Mhm.
Very true.
Yeah, Jerry Lewis, Buddy Hackett, Jackie Mason, Red Buttons.
We are, yeah.
Mhm.
I remember the
funny
first
people.
time I went to one of your services, I think it was Rosh Hashanah, And I
Yeah.
see in the temple were like 10 comedians of my youth. I think Red Buttons was there, Jen Murray. There's a whole slew of people that I loved.
That's right.
Sid Caesar.
Sid
Yeah.
Caesar.
Oh, man. Milton once in a while.
Now, I think Milton had passed by then. But my Sid Caesar story is that I remember looking for a place for the party for my bar mitzvah, which was a little while ago. And Sid Caesar and his wife were there looking for a place for their son's bar mitzvah. That's my Sid Caesar story.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Sorry. I
We
wasn't
got-
entertained. I could tell you a lot of Soupy Sale stories, but
Soupy
So could
also.
we.
Yeah. Soupy was a nice man. I am fortunate in that, first of all, fortunate because I married this woman next to me who's got a great sense of humor, which is
she
one
has
of the
to be
reasons.
married to you.
Yeah, but I'm
Not to survive.
They're not done.
I loved comedy and wanted to be a comic, that I would have a congregation of comedians. When I said they were all there, it was such a spiritual for me feeling to be with people who make people laugh and happy. And I was and watch them laugh when I was up there, because I kibitz a lot on the pulpit, as you know, and I love it. And it brought me back to the or it brings me back to the Catskills, and it gives me great motivation. Also, I see people laugh. I do care for people. It's I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I truly am blessed to be able to do that.
Jerry had a talk show, celebrity talk show. Soupy Sales was on. That's where I met Soupy. Yeah.
Yeah, we had many
We did.
comedians come on the show, and actors like Walter Matthau, who's also one of my congregants, and a very, very funny man. As you saw him on screen, that's how he was. He was a dear friend, and he was good to neshama, a good soul.
I think he's Jewish. Herschel Bernardi.
Herschel, yeah.
I think he's Jewish.
Yeah.
I was doing, I think it's one of the talk shows on Channel 5 back in the 60s. I was a studio supervisor, and Herschel Bernardi was a guest. And he was doing Tavia on Fiddle on the Roof on Broadway. And he walks in and he's wearing a black mohair suit, black white shirt and a tie, big beard, looked very austere. He comes walking into the studio. One of our stage hands, Eli Brofman, he yells out, "Heshy, baby!" And both him and Herschel Bernardi embrace and they kiss each other. Turns out that Eli worked with him in the Yiddish theater.
Oh, in the Yiddish theater, yeah.
Back on the Lower East Side, back in the
right.
40s and 50s. But it was funny because all of a sudden he broke that austere look.
It was.
A regular guy.
Herschel was a sweetheart, a very good guy. And he was a wonderful fiddler. Now, when I went into personal management, I didn't represent Herschel, but I represented the one who took over for Herschel.
Harry Goss or something?
Yeah, Harry, yeah. Harry took over and I made the deal with Hal Prince. That's when I was a manager and I wasn't doing comedy anymore.
Right, so you managed Stiller and Mira?
Yeah.
That must have been fun.
Also, a very wonderful and lovely couple.
Mm-hmm.
They were funny all the time, kibitzing all the time. They came to services a few high holidays when they were in town, And I always brought them up
To do a reading.
to do a reading. Whenever I had a celebrity, I brought them up to do a reading.
How come you never invited
They-
me?
No, you were there. What do you mean invite you to come up
I
and
mean, as a
read?
celebrity, to do a reading.
Oh, well, you know what? You're right. And you can take me off the air right now and pay back. That's okay. But
You know who I used to love? I see in your biography, Jackie Vernon. He had
Jackie,
such a
Jackie was very, very, very funny. You sit down with him, he was droll. His character was always droll, as his delivery was. And things came out of his mouth, and he would tell us stories. Very, very funny. He was a genuinely nice. I keep on saying nice guy. I only deal with nice guys. And if they gave me trouble, I said that's not why I went into management or comedy. But when my days as a comic had waned, I started to represent these guys, which was also very exciting because I was in Vegas a lot. And at Caesar's Palace, we all sit down and all the comics would sit at a table and we tell stories. And I love that, of course. Who wouldn't? Those were good days, my man. Very good days.
That reminds me of a Woody Allen movie. I forget the name of the movie where they sit down with a bunch of comics at the
Broadway
Stage
Daily
Deli.
Rose.
Yeah, maybe that.
Broadway Daily Rose. My cousin was in that film. She played the xylophone in one of his acts. He represented her. And she was a whiz at the musical classes. That's it.
But she wouldn't travel in case they got broken.
Yeah, the glasses. So she didn't travel. She was.
I think I saw her on the Ed Sullivan Show. Musical glasses.
Yeah, she did a lot of shows.
Yeah.
She was very popular in New
Funny.
York. But to get back to the comedy, I used a lot of names because the guy from AGVA would want to sign me up. I had to pay money to join the union in order to entertain. And I wasn't serious then. I just wanted to kibitz as a comic and not pay any money to be. I'd rather get the money. And he caught me at one show. I forget which one. And he didn't let me go until I gave him the money. So I gave him, and the name I used was Jerry Herring. And I was stuck with that name.
No, then you did Jerry. Everywhere I want.
Oh, that was before. I went to Jerry Rome, and they'd say, "Ladies and gentlemen, our comedy guest for the evening, Jerry," and I would sing, "Anywhere I wander, anywhere I." Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Rome. That was my entrance.
I think it's a good thing you gave up comedy.
No, I gave up singing. So then I just did the comedy.
And during this period,
The first time I used herring was in a hotel in the Catskills, of course, many years ago. And they introduced me, and they said, "We're running late. It's a comedy team, a Jewish comedy team, did a lot of Yiddish." So they said, "All right, come out." I said, "All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to introduce you. He's going to be here in a few weeks. Jerry Herring." I came out and I said, "Thank you. Unfortunately, it's not enough time for me to say anything because it's their show. I don't want to come in and meddle. I'll just say hello and goodbye. God bless you." I leave. As they started again working on their routine, the audience said, "We want herring. We want herring." I'll never forget that. We won, herring. We won, and it grew louder and louder. They couldn't do their acting, so they brought me back on.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. That was a wonderful time.
Yeah, but if I know the Catskills, they really wanted herring, Montes herring or pickled
Oh,
herring.
that's why I took the name herring. It's something everybody wanted.
I'll tell you, of all the comedians I read that you work with or you know, my all-time favorite is Buddy Hackett. There's no one could tell a story as funny as Buddy Hackett. A story about his life and what he does, and
Buddy was a genius. We had a company together, Buddy and I. Buddy was in. Oh boy, wait a minute. Buddy was in. I was a publicist of movies after all that, before the rabbinate, and he was in American International Beach Party Pictures. If you remember that, Frankie Avalon and
Annette
Funicello.
Yeah, so Buddy was in New York. He lived in New Jersey, right over the bridge, George Washington Bridge, and I was in New York. We got together because I was doing publicity for him, for AIP. And I told him about my background. Well, the next thing, we're buddies. Buddy and I would travel up to the Concord with him whenever he was going up to do a show. But staying with him was magic. It was magical for me because his mind never stopped working for a second. And he was always, always funny. He had such a comedic mind and delivery. His delivery was brilliant.
His timing was impeccable.
Yeah. And we became very good friends. I'll tell you the stories another time, but I have a lot of stories with Buddy, and I love Buddy.
Did you know Robin Williams?
No.
He was opposed to you. Because him and Jonathan Winters, they do, and Buddy Hackett, they just think funny.
Well, the two of them, they were physical comics, and they played it to the hilt, and they were both brilliant. If you have a brilliant comedic mind, you do very well in the Catskills, even those who didn't entertain. If you were a guest, you sat down and you kibitzed, everybody came to you. They would come around the table and listen and laugh. Oh boy, I loved the Catskills. Let me tell you what how I started in the Catskills. That's interesting. I started in the Catskills. I was, what the heck was it when I first went up?
Busboy? No.
No. I was doing shows. I worked at this Normandy Hotel.
Normandy, yeah.
In South Fallsburg. And I went there as a athletic director. That was it. And I wasn't much into athletics, but
Still
I played volleyball, that I did. And they said they opened up a golf course. They said, I said, of course I play golf. Never played it in my life. So they said, good, we're going to have you teach them. When the lessons you'll go. So I got a book on how to swing a club. I figured all I have to do is swing it. I don't have to hit the ball. I'll just show them how to swing it. And I'll say, you see that ball? When the golf club comes around, you'll hit that and you'll see. So I taught everyone how to swing, and that was it. Now, that was during the winter. When we came into the summer, I was there, the maitre d'. I was the maitre d'. They asked me if I'd be, I said, where, what? So I stood at the door whenever anyone came in and brought them into that was wonderful. Then one day they came to me and they said, the lifeguard the lifeguard can't make it today. He's sick. We're gonna have to send him home. I said, no problem. I'll be your lifeguard. I couldn't swim. I said, I'll be your lifeguard. So I would stand there by the pool. Everyone knew me now as the lifeguard. I'd walk back and forth, and I would chuckle a lot and pray that no one should drown. So, because if I jump in to save someone, the two of us will go
Two of
under.
us.
That's another.
What just happened?
That's a story that she can tell you. And what happened was, one day I hear, Jerry, come quick, Jerry. I run over there. There's a guy who's drowning in the middle of the pool. So I look around and I see one of these poles that you clean the pool with, long pole with a net. I ran and got it and I held it. I said, grab a hold of this, which he did, and I pulled him in. The next day, I opened up the doors for the for a breakfast or lunch for the people, since I was the maitre d'. People walking in, they said, you should have seen Jerry yesterday. He jumped into that pool. And the story grew and grew until I jumped in and I saved the guy. I pulled him out. What a hero. I loved the cats. I loved every minute in the Catskills.
Yeah,
I'll tell you the other story. I was converting some people in the ocean.
Oh, that was out here, and it was in Malibu.
Out here when I had my pulpit, and I was at the ocean, and I told the girls who were converting, go into the ocean. They wore
three at a time,
and they wore a muumuu. Of course, they'd have to take off the muumuu and dunk themselves 3 times, and one of them started to drown.
all of them did.
All of them?
Yeah, they all got, there was an undercurrent, and it pulled them all
Oh, it
out.
pulled them out, yeah.
And they couldn't get back. Jerry went out there, and of course, you know, they're naked, and there's the cutest little blonde with the biggest boobs you've ever seen. And he's going, oh, who should I? And he goes to help her.
That's not true.
Anyway.
She was the closest one.
They're both going under.
You got something to grab hold of.
Right. Anyway, I had to go in, and I thought, who am I going to save? Am I going to save him going after the blonde with the big boobs, or I'll save her? So I went in, I got her in, and then I had to go back for Jerry. And one girl was being pulled out further and further in the ocean, and we couldn't get her in. And it turned out she had fishing line all wrapped around her. And as we were pulling, this fisherman came from around the rocks like this, and he'd been trying to pull her in. Yeah.
He thought he had a big fish.
Needless to say, I never converted anyone in the ocean again.
Well, yeah, you did.
I got.
Did.
The other day, yeah. But mikveh, I had to go because the mikveh is closed out because of COVID. So I had to go down for this, but it was only one.
Do they still do mikvahs and when you come?
Oh yeah, the mikvahs are all in LA.
They have a beautiful one at the University of well, it's not the University of Judaism. What is it, Chelsea? The up on Mulholland.
Yeah, well, the former University of Judaism. Yeah. And which is nice. But anyway, what else you want to know?
I want to know that you have 5 daughters. What happens when the 4th and 5th daughter were born? What did you say, or what did you tell the doctor?
No, I asked the doctor on the 5th, I said, I don't know what it's going to be, that she was pregnant. I have 4 daughters already. I would like a son. The guy said, forget it. You have 4 daughters already. This is going to be your 5th. And he was right. And that was Tess. The number 4, who's I'm looking at right now, my beautiful Chelsea, is my cantor. When I do my services from this house on Friday night.
Yeah,
Have you
Because-
seen her live streams?
I've seen parts of it.
Oh,
Right.
I
but we
haven't-
can't hold your attention.
I have, there's so many different things. And probably it was the same night as a Laker basketball.
Ah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, you probably didn't see it, but yeah, Chelsana, she sings beautifully. And
I
she's-
think I've seen parts where she sang during the Jewish
The
holidays. Like it's in the
services.
Hi,
Jewish holidays, Rosh
That's
Hashanah,
right.
Yom Kippur. Even though
Ah,
Yeah.
well,
I'm lucky. I'm very fortunate to have the family I do, and I'm very thankful. And I still have a sense of humor. Life is good.
I hope you had a house with about 4 or 5 bathrooms.
yeah.
I hear that's the
Oh,
problem when you
always
have
make
daughters.
sure. And more than one phone, yes.
Right.
So I could always find it. Thank God for these phones, for the
Cell phones. Yeah.
cell phones, so I can use it without any.
I had an uncle that had 3 daughters, and when the 3rd daughter was born, I think he yelled at the doctor, "For crying out loud, you don't know how to deliver boys." Who was it?
That's
I think it was Eddie Cantor had like 5
Yeah,
daughters or
85
something.
daughters, yeah.
And Paul Anka has 4 or 5.
Yeah,
This I don't know.
yeah, he does.
But I like Paul Anka. I love his voice. I'm a big fan.
He's still got, but he wrote great music also.
He did.
New York, was it New York? No,
My Way.
that was theme, but
Yeah.
He wrote- Do It My Way. He wrote My Way for
Yeah.
Sinatra. And he recorded
On a-
Sinatra's is more a bigger seller, of course.
No, I like his. I like his. His has more sincerity to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Frank, I called him Frank.
Mhm.
I represented Stanley Myron Handelman, who opened for him in Las Vegas. I'll tell you a nice story. So
Tell me.
Stanley opened in Vegas, and following the show, Stanley came over to me and said, "Would you come with me? I want to go next door to the hotel." His name I forget, it's not there anymore. Because there was a Chagall painting that he wanted to see, Stanley. He loved Chagall, he wanted to see the painting. I said, "Yeah, come on, let's go." As we're walking through the lobby, Sinatra sees us, and he's sitting with Pat Henry in a corner with the restaurateur. Jilly and Pat Henry and Sinatra. So Sinatra yells out to us, "Hey guys, where are you going?" Stanley says, "Why? We're going next door." He said, No. You stay here. We're going to go with the broads. And Stanley said, No. I want to go next door. I want to see the dunes. I want to go see so I'm saying, Stanley, listen, this will be an experience for me. I won't fool around, but just to be with Frank Sinatra and women, I don't know what will go on. If it gets too raunchy, I'll go, but it's
Oh, yeah.
so. So he says, "No, I want to go see the Chagall." I said, "Stanley, please, this will be something I can tell people for the rest of my life." He said, "You'll tell him that he asked you to go. It's enough. Don't be impressed with."
Were you married at the time?
No,
We weren't.
Oh,
no. So I went next door to look at the Chagall, which was beautiful, yeah. But I'm thinking I could have been with Sinatra and with women. I could have told them. Anyway, we look at it. I say, "Yeah, it's lovely, yeah." And I was very angry with Stanley.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The
guys.
very next-
Yeah.
Wait, very fast. The very next day, Stanley goes into his dressing room. There, sitting in the dressing room, was the Chagall. Sinatra bought it for him as a gift.
Wow.
That was a big wow, because he was paying Stanley a lot of money, more than Stanley ever got for appearance at Caesars. But he was a mensch, Sinatra. He was a good guy.
Okay.
Yes, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that our half hour is up.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh,
Gee,
no.
where did it go?
Well, we could do another one if you like after this. Well, I'll call you during the week and we can do a part 2.
Yeah, okay. My wife and I, we do the Bickersons.
Both of you do it together, but you have to do a song and dance also.
No,
what
there you
the-
go. Song and dance as well.
Oh,
It's
well, I'll get
whatever we do, we do it together.
Chelsea will sing, Jeff will do the dance, and I'll quell.
Yeah, you can make sideline comments.
Ah, yeah. Well, I've been very quiet today. Let Jerry sing.
She has, yeah.
University of Judaism.
Well,
I got it.
I
Yeah,
can tell you from knowing
she-
both, you make a great couple.
Well, she's a great asset to me and always has been, and runs the tempo.
Well, actually, when
We'll tell you about her next time, her
Next time.
background.
but what I want to get into
Interesting.
is when you really started more seriously into becoming, Rabbi Cutler. And how
Oh,
you feel
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
serious, yeah.
Or when will that happen?
Because I like
Nice.
what you have on your bio, how you view Judaism. Which I always like, the joy of Judaism.
Mhm.
The joy of Judaism through the creative arts.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, it's been
Okay.
fun.
Take care, it's
Nice
been a
seeing you.
pleasure.
We'll
Be well
speak
now.
again.
All right. Bye-bye,
Bye.
Malcolm.